It's haul video time, and this time I've done something I've not done for a while, and that's buy vinyl singles. Sometimes I tend to avoid those because, well, I've already got them in vinyl form on albums, I've already got the tracks on CDs, all the bonuses that come with these things are usually available on deluxe editions and stuff ever since. So why would I usually do that? Well, this time it was for another video that I have done for the channel, as well as kind of getting the impression of what it was like to hear the tracks in their original format, because anybody who's had 45 records, they kind of got their own little sound to them, little quirks that come with it. So yeah, I picked up a bundle of these on eBay recently for about £3.21 for 8 of them. I'm about to show you what they are, but it cost me £3.21 with about £3.50 postage, which is not too bad. I have seen some of these going at record fairs for like, you know, £1, £2, something like that. So to get them quite cheap for about £6 in all is not too bad. So let's start with this one, Rockin' All Over the World from '77. This got to number 3 in the UK charts. And the B-side, which I'm sure would have been on many people's turntables over and over again, especially if you didn't pick up the Blue For You album, is Ring of a Change, which is the B-side there. And doesn't come in its original sleeve, but to be fair, I'm not always bothered about that. To me, it's the content that comes with it. So this is Caroline live at the NEC from the early 80s, from that Prince's Trust concert. The B-side to this is Dirty Water. I'm not showing these in any particular order, just kind of as I pick them up here. So this one is Wild Side of Life, which was quite a big hit for Quo. It's obviously a cover version of that classic country song, and it has the B-side, All Through the Night, which is kind of a different Quo track. It's got kind of a different vibe to it, a hint of where they could have gone if they'd gone in a slightly different direction. I noticed this one is actually a jukebox record with the thing in the middle. I don't know if anyone else did. When I first discovered these were a thing, I didn't have the thing that you can put in the middle to put those on when they don't have these adjustable things. I cut out a thing from the cereal box and I like sellotaped it in because I didn't know any better, and it kind of worked. I'm sure I'm not the first person to do that. So let's go forward to probably one of the oldest ones here, which is Caroline from 1973. Another kind of big hit for the band. And this had the B-side of Joanne, which has got a very, I would say, like Hank Marvin inspired solo on it. I'm not a huge fan of the track, mainly because my context of hearing it is at the end of the Hello album on the deluxe edition, so it kind of doesn't fit with those. It's kind of a weird thing. I'm not a huge fan of it. Maybe in a different context I would, but let's look at the next one when I can find it up the right way. Another one, Rain from 1976. With a great video accompanying it as well. And the B-side, which is You Lost the Love. Another track that I really like when I heard it on the deluxe edition of Blue For You. I'm sure actually that there are many fans who would have bought these back in the day, and I'm sure the B-side was like the thing you were looking forward to. You'd already heard the A-side, the B-side, especially in this era, they're trying different stuff, aren't they? They're sort of, you know, putting little extras on there that maybe you hadn't heard before, as well as select album tracks. So this is their only #1 single off their own back completely. This is Down Down from 75, and it has the B-side from the On the Level album, Night Ride. Let's fast forward a couple of weeks for a moment for various reasons to show you the next one that I acquired. This is Rock and Roll by Status Quo, originally issued on the Just Supposin' album in 1980, issued as a single at the end of, I believe, 1981, after the Never Too Late album had been released. How many of you, when you first heard there was going to be a Status Quo track called Rock and Roll, assumed it was going to be like a really boogie-fied, high-energy rock track from the band? Were you disappointed when it turned out to be a sentimental ballad talking about radio plays on Caroline? Do let me know in the comments below. Interestingly, and I guess for many reasons, the context of the time taken into account, the B-side is played at 33 1/3 RPM, and it contains 2 tracks, which are Hold You Back from the Rockin' All Over the World album and Backwater from the Quo album. It's an interesting thing, and I guess in some ways, if you look at it another way, it's like saying, hey, this single's called Rock and Roll, here's 2 kind of slightly deeper cuts, which I believe were released as singles in their own right in other countries. Here's an example of our kind of high energy rock and roll stuff, you know, on a single called Rock and Roll. I have listened, they are the studio versions from the albums that I mention. Pretty cool thing to have. Maybe it was a way of selling more singles. Who knows at this point? So, that is Rock and Roll. Did you buy this when it first came out? Let me know in the comments below. Let's rewind now to 2 weeks ago. So, I said that the second side of that was kind of like an EP. This is an EP. Status Quo Live. This is from 1975, recorded at the Kersal, Southend, 1st of March 1975, and Trentham Gardens, Stoke-on-Trent, 2nd of March 1975. The tracks included on here are Roll Over Lay Down on side 1 and Gurdendula and Julia's Wailing on side 2. And it says here in the corner, Gurdendula and Junior's Wailing recorded by kind permission of Pi Records Limited. A bit of their 2 eras mixing there. I've heard these because some of these are available, aren't they, on the Level deluxe thing, but I look forward to hearing it on here. But there's some they're stonking live versions, aren't they? I particularly like the Junior's Wailing. I think that's the one where Rossi tries to G up at the beginning, isn't it? Can we have a bit of a, you know, whatever it is at the beginning? That really fired me up as a teenager. I loved the idea of that. And so to then see them live as the Frantic 4 years later and Junior's Wailing kicks in, it is basically this live EP that built up my estimation of that, as well as the live album, of course. On the back here, we've got this familiar photo of the band in the pub, which has been shared many a time. And then on the front, as you can see, live pictures stylized. So that is Status Quo Live from 1975. They recorded a video for Roll Over Lay Down where it's a live performance, but they're obviously miming to it in the studio. It's a great video if you can get a hold of it. Considering that I don't buy singles very often for the reasons that I've stated, I'm actually quite glad of these, because these are like from their massive heyday period in the mid-70s, and so to hear it in that context on its original format is a very interesting thing to me, and a good study as well. Did you buy any of these back in the day? Did you help them achieve their chart success? Let me know in the comments below.